Hi everyone. Today we're going to be using watercolor from your swag bag. They look like this, these little pans of color, and we're going to be creating an Aurora sky. So some of you might have cool colored paint, some of you might have warm colored paint, and we're going to be able to create 3 shades of color from the 2, and then from there lighter and darker shades of those colors depending on how much water we add to the paint. So I have my watercolor square of paper out of my folder. I pre-traced a circle onto my square. I used a roll of masking tape because I had that on my desk, it was handy, but try to find something that's a decent sized circle, like a pretty big circle. You know, you don't want to use like a water bottle cap, but something that's a fairly good sized circle. I also have paper towel. I have a water cup with clean water. I have a paintbrush, which some of you may have one that looks like this, and that's okay. And then I used a lid from our palette to use as my tray to mix my watercolor on, but you could use a paper plate. You could even use a regular plate, you know, from your kitchen, because the watercolor is not going to ruin your plates. It will wash right off. Just make sure you ask mom, dad, or whoever's in charge of you if it's okay if you use a plate. But really, even if it's like a lid from a container, that would work as a nice little tray to mix it. Okay. So, and then I have some fun stuff. I have some salt, just your regular table salt that you would find at home, and that I'm going to use later on to sprinkle into my wet paint. I also have some rubbing alcohol. So some of you might have peroxide at home or rubbing alcohol in like your medicine cabinet or your bathroom. If you have rubbing alcohol, you can use this on the project as well, which is something really fun too. If you don't have it though, you don't have to go out and buy it. You can just use the table salt and that will work nicely. So the first thing I'm going to do is wake up my watercolors because those pans of color are dry. So I'm going to take some water on my brush. I'm just going to flick it into the pans of color, just so we can start waking up that paint and getting it ready to use. Then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to scoop and create a little puddle of water on the lid. And it'll start growing as I add droplets of water to it. That's a nice little size puddle. And then I'm going to go right into the darker color of watercolor, which is purple. Swirl it around, really load up my brush and add it to that giant water droplet. I'm going to wash out my brush really well and go right into the green. And I'm trying to kind of grab equal amounts of paint. So I really loaded up my brush with the purple. Now I'm really going to load up my brush with the green and go right into there and mix. Now the purple's really strong, so it ate up that green really fast. I'm going to wash out my brush again. Grab some more green. Add it to that. Now I do see a difference. I'm starting to see it kind of grayed out. I kind of like that. It's almost like a really deep teal. So now what I'm going to do to create my Aurora sky, I can't take paint and put it directly onto dry paper. With watercolor, you want to dampen your paper. So I'm taking my water and I'm going to start in the middle and I'm just going to kind of wiggle and dance my brush from bristles all the way down to the tip and back down across my paper to create a little trail of water. So if you can see, when I move it, you can kind of see the water is shiny. Okay.